Is there supposed to be a certain protocol for people to check in?
No, and I begin with me, and then he can speak, and they can speak for the other generation. But I'm a never, you know what I mean? We don't have time for no sucker shit like that.
But what is the reason why you moved to Houston?
Well, look, first of all, like every time I've experienced Houston, like when I was out here, I ran into random acts of kindness. Like the people have been good to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the places that I'm like, man, or maybe Houston, like Houston or Miami popped into my head. Mm-hmm. They said 58%. I said, what? You my partner? The IRS is my partner now? Oh no, all you get is a Yankee hat? I'm going to Houston.
Okay, y'all, hold on tight, because 50 Cent just dropped a bomb that's got the entire hip-hop world shaken to its core. This ain't just rap beef. It's not even close. What started off as whispers about street politics and beef over check-ins has now spiraled into something darker, deeper, and way more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. See, folks used to think 50 was just doing what 50 always does, stirring the pot, refusing to play nice, flexing on anyone trying to tell him how to move. But now, he's naming names, he's pointing fingers, and he's making one thing loud and clear. Someone out there wanted him gone. Not just canceled, not just exposed, gone. And it gets even messier, because 50's not just calling out JPrince, the so-called gatekeeper of Houston. He's straight up suggesting that Supreme McGriff's own son, yes, the son of the man many believe was behind 50's infamous 2000 shooting, may have been in on the plot too. And just when you thought it couldn't get more chaotic, Rick Ross pops up in the shadows, hanging around 50's enemies like he's been waiting for this very moment. Yeah, it's that serious.
For me to start a new relationship with Houston. I'm excited about it. The opportunity, I had a lot of fun things for the kids. I think that they're really gonna get a chance to appreciate and enjoy it. And
let's rewind a little. All this madness starts in Houston, JPrince's turf. This man runs the city like it's his personal empire. The unspoken rule, you check in. Whether you're a rapper, athlete, or Hollywood star, if you land in Houston, you show respect. That's just how it's been. But is it really about respect, or is it about control? Because behind the smiles, that check-in sounds more like a warning. And it's not just empty talk. Artists have checked in and still found themselves in danger. So what's the real story?
There's supposed to be a certain protocol for people to check in?
No, and I begin with me, and then he can speak, and they can speak for the other generation. But I'm a never, you know what I mean? We don't have time for no sucker shit like that.
Enter 50 Cent. When he made the move to Houston full-time, not just a weekend visit, JPrince expected him to follow the rules. But 50? Nah, he wasn't playing that game. He didn't check in. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't kiss any rings. He just said, I love New York, but I live in Houston now. Everyone thought it was about taxes. And sure, New York taxes are wild, but come on, this is 50 Cent. Every move is calculated. And Houston wasn't just a new home, it was the blueprint for a new empire.
Today, we have the honor of saying to him, he's our 2022 Grand Marshal. Give it up to Curtis 50 Jackson.
50 wasn't just looking for a tax break, he had major plans. A $20 million 0 cents G-Unit film and TV studio. Liquor brand expansions, community investment, school donations. He wasn't just moving in, he was taking over. But the way he did it, without checking in, without giving JPrince a nod, that didn't sit right. That was a power move, and it sent ripples through the streets. Suddenly, whispers started floating through Houston. People were watching 50, wondering if he'd last.
I have the resilience to go against anybody. Like, there's nobody that's too ill. Those are the guys that you would choose not to go against at that point. It's in the environment.
And guess what? There was pressure. Behind closed doors, behind the camera, behind the smiles. But 50, he didn't back down. He saw it all for what it was. Street extortion with better branding. And he wasn't about to buy in. He looked at all the rappers who did play along. Takeoff, Jacob the Jeweler, even XXXTentacion, and saw the same outcome. Tragedy. No protection, just smoke and mirrors. So what did he do? He vanished. Quietly, without warning. One day he was building his empire in Houston. The next, he was rerouting everything to Shreveport, Louisiana. No press release, no warning, just gone. And people were shook.
It's for you, man.
Sweet.
You the only one in Miami with that, baby. You know
see what it is.
You know the vibes.
See what it is.
Yeah. Now don't forget, this is the same Houston that gave 50 the key to the city. That named November 24th as 50 Cent Day. That made him Grand Marshal of their Thanksgiving parade. So why dip? He finally said it himself. Houston didn't embrace me the way I expected, y'all. That wasn't just disappointment, that was the warning. He didn't feel safe anymore, and guess who else didn't like how things were playing out? JPrince. Insiders say he was fuming, watching 50 make moves in his city, soaking up the spotlight without ever bowing down, that hit his ego hard. This was no longer about publicity, it was about power, about who controlled the streets. And then Supreme McGriff's name dropped into the mix, and everything changed. Supreme McGriff. If you know anything about 50 Cent's past, that name alone should send chills down your spine. This isn't a new rivalry, it's personal, it's historic, it's unfinished business. Because in the early 2000s, when 50 Cent was still clawing his way out of Queens, he dropped a track called Ghetto Crant. To the music world, it was just a gritty rap story, but to the streets, it was a hit list. 50 named names, he exposed the legends. And Supreme McGriff, he was right there, front and center in those bars, and the streets didn't forget. Not long after, 50 Cent got sprayed up, 9 bullets. Nearly died. He lived, but it changed everything. See, most men would have folded after that, but 50, he turned that pain into power. He flipped his trauma into a global brand. That shooting made him a legend, but Supreme, he went down a different path. Life in prison, never snitched, never bent, never broke. And behind bars, that silence, that loyalty, it earned him a godlike respect on the streets. While 50 got rich off the pain, Supreme became a symbol of street code, and he never forgot who put his name in those lyrics. So when 50 kept winning, Supreme and his circle, they kept watching. Then there's Irv Gotti, another street titan, deeply tied to Supreme. Not just associates, family. Irv funded Supreme's legal fights, stood 10 toes down no matter the cost, and 50, he didn't just beat them in music, he humiliated them. He crushed Ja Rule, dismantled Murder Inc., left their whole empire in ashes. Even when Irv passed away, 50 couldn't resist. He clowned him publicly. He posted a fake tombstone pic, smoking hookah, laughing. The caption, "I'm smoking that Gotti pack, God bless him. LOL, cold." And it didn't stop there. When Irv's stroke news hit, 50 posted, "Damn, I wanted him to see my new shows. Bruh." The disrespect was blistering. And that's when McGriff Jr. stepped in, Supreme's son. And this man, he's not his father, but he's got his father's rage. He jumped on Instagram and snapped. He said, "If I said I was smoking on your mother and your grandfather pack, y'all would say I'm wrong, right? Then double down. Y'all really love this clown." For him, this wasn't entertainment. This was family, legacy. And 50's jokes weren't just jokes anymore. They were war drums. From that moment, it was on. Then 50 starts posting cryptic captions, "Snakes in the grass, watch your circle, trust nobody." He didn't say names, but everyone felt it. The tension, thick enough to slice with a machete. Then, boom, another bombshell. Word leaks that 50 got intel, claims that JPrince's crew and McGriff Jr. might have had secret convos about him, about pressure, about setting him up, about forcing him out, or maybe even something darker. And instead of hiding, 50 put it all on Front Street. He wanted people to know, to watch, to see, because now he's not just dealing with industry snakes. He's in the crosshairs of legacy beef that goes back 2 decades. And in the middle of all this, Rick Ross shows up. Yeah, Rick Ross. We already know the 50 Ross feud has been running longer than most rap careers. Diss tracks, court battles, family shots, it's been ugly. But now, Ross is chilling with folks tied to Supreme's camp. Coincidence? 50 don't think so. To him, this ain't just a hangout, this is a message. This is Ross saying, "I'm with them." And the whispers, they get louder. That meetup, it wasn't just for IG likes. Word on the street, it was part of a bigger plan. McGriff Jr. had enough. After 50's comments about Irv, after years of disrespect, he wanted action. And with JPrince circling the whole thing, the stakes just went nuclear. See, this ain't just personal beef anymore. This is about the system. Because if 50 Cent, one of the most influential men in entertainment, can land in Houston, refuse to check in, mock the old guard, and still move untouched, then the entire check-in culture, it crumbles. And JPrince, he's not letting that happen. Word is, he wants to make an example out of 50. Not just for 50's sake, but to send a message to every artist in the game. Play by the rules, or risk the fallout. And if you know JPrince's history, you already know he don't play. Back in the late 80s, his name was in federal files. The whispers said he had real street connections. From Mexico to Louisiana to Chicago. That ain't local beef. That's international heat. They say he had ties to Larry Hoover, founder of the Gangsta Disciples. And when that connection happened, boom, a pipeline of power from Houston to the Midwest opened up. And right in the middle, JPrince. Then came Rap-A-Lot Records. To the public, it was about putting Houston on the map. But the streets, they whispered something darker. That it was a front, that Rap-A-Lot was cleaning up the real money behind the music. The feds, they were watching too. By 1988, the DEA was all over JPrince, tapping phones, tailing drivers, building a case that looked airtight. And then, silence. The whole case vanished. No charges, no headlines, just gone. You think that's luck? That's power. That's protection from the highest levels. So now ask yourself, if 50 Cent is really calling out these names, JPrince, McGriff Jr., even Rick Ross, is he being paranoid? Or is he seeing something before it blows up? Because this don't feel like your average rap beef anymore. This feels like a setup in motion, a legacy war reignited. And 50, he's not backing down, he's daring them. He's exposing the cracks in the game, and if he's right, this could change everything. So keep your eyes open, because this story, far from over. And if anyone's bold enough to go toe-to-toe with the street legends and survive, it's 50. It's 50.